Hello, welcome back to Appira Salesforce. I am Pradeep Gore. In this video, we are going to see how to integrate SF and Azure through SSO integration. This is the agenda for the demo. Prerequisites, integration objective, SF Enterprise app, SSO certificate, SSO setup, and Auth configuration. So as a prerequisite, we require two orgs, one of Salesforce and second from Azure AD portal. If you are from Salesforce community and want to register for your trial org, you have to visit azure.microsoft.com. I will explain this in a later slides, but if you are from Azure community and want to create a trial org, you just have to hit developer.salesforce.com, fill up the sign up form, complete the verification method, and that is it. So this is how we register for Azure portal. You have to hit azure.microsoft.com, click start free, fill up the sign up form, and in the second step of the sign up form you have to attach your card. This is going to be a Visa card or MasterCard. So once you attach, you have to complete the verification. Microsoft will send you an OTP. You have to verify it via that OTP and it will deduct 2 rupees from your account. Now that you have done the verification, if you want to remove your card, you have to ensure that you have completed all your learning or experimentation and the play with Azure portal. Then you can remove the card, because removing the card will also remove your free subscription. Once you go to cost management and payment method, you have to hit delete, and then you have to hit disable and delete subscription for removing your card as well as your free trial org. Now why are we learning this SF and Azure AD integration is because the integration has numerous advantages. One advantage is that you can control the access of user through Azure portal. Azure will act as a central location, and because you are signing up, you do not have to use username and password. So let us get started with the Salesforce Enterprise app in Azure. So how to create that? You have to visit portal.azure.com. In the search bar you can type enterprise application and you can land up on this page. Hit on new application, and Azure provides out of the box application for Salesforce. Click on create. It will take few seconds or few minutes. Once you install this application, the next screen will be of application itself. Then you have to click on single sign on, and because we are using SAML protocol here, you have to select SAML. Then fill up the basic configuration details of our Salesforce org. In the identifier, you have to mention the domain. So I am mentioning this domain without the slash. In the reply URL, you can also mention the same domain name, as well as in the sign on URL as well. Hit save. Okay, then move on to the next part, attributes and claims. Now inside attributes and claims, we have to give a field name which will be common in Azure and as well as inside Salesforce. So I'm deleting all the fields which are not required, as I need to associate only employee ID in Azure to federation ID inside Salesforce. So I will select employee ID here and hit save. Go back to our single sign-on form Okay, so I've removed all the fields and kept employee ID. So employee ID field is the common field between Azure user and Salesforce user. If you look at my user, this is my user, and we'll search for Federation ID here. Okay, it's an empty field. So what we can do is go to edit and populate this Federation identifier and save it, and then we'll check the same Federation ID, that is the employee ID, inside Azure portal. I'm going to click duplicate tab and then visit the default directory, go to users, and here you can see the user. Okay, let me click on edit properties and go to this employee ID. Okay, now here you can see I've already added employee ID for my user. Because there are no changes, I'm not going to hit save. Okay, back to our Salesforce application. So this field acts as a bridge between Salesforce and Azure user. We have now certificates generated by this application. We'll download this certificate, both the certificate, one which is in metadata XML format and second which is in base64 format, that is with .cert extension. Now one last step remaining is to add users inside this application. I'll go to users and group, click on add user/group, select the user that we want to add to this application. I'm selecting my user and the role for it. So I'm going to select system admin user and assign. So my user has been assigned to this application. Now go back to our Salesforce instance. So what is the benefits of using Salesforce Enterprise app is we get to establish the connection without writing a single line of code. Second is it comes up with all the functionalities like SSO and automatic user provisioning and deprovisioning. Next is SSO certificate. We have already seen that. Here you go. So certificate has been downloaded, this .xml and .cert. Now why we need certificate is because it establishes a trust relationship between these two platforms, and these certificates are exchanged between Azure and Salesforce. So then we move on to the SSO setup. So in the SSO setup, we can do this setup quickly by uploading the .xml file that we downloaded from Azure portal. Simply go to single sign-on settings and click on new from metadata file and select .xml file, open it and click on create. So it will create automatically single sign-on configuration for us. Okay, for identity provider certificate, we have to select the downloaded cert, and then for SAML identity type, we should select Federation ID from the user object, because our Federation ID will act as a bridge between both the users, as I said, Azure user and Salesforce user. So I will select Federation ID here and just click on save. Our SSO setup has been done. Then hit back and just enable the SAML checkbox in the federated single sign-on using SAML. save it. Okay, so we are done with the single sign-on settings. Now it is time for auth configuration. So auth configuration means basically opting for authentication service. So we need to authenticate with our SSO setting. So we go back to the Salesforce instance. In the My Domain setting, if you scroll down to authentication configuration, instead of login form, you have to select STS, which is our SSO settings, then hit save. It is time for our testing. Go back to our incognito window. In incognito window, I have already logged in via my Microsoft Outlook credential. I'm just going to mention the domain name here. I will copy the domain name from the instance URL and in the incognito window I'll paste it. Okay, this confirms our last step of testing, and hope you like this video. With this last step of successful testing, our integration has been completed. Here is the summary that we had done. We created an SF enterprise application in Azure. Then after some configuration inside that application, we downloaded the SSO certificate. Then SSO setup has been done inside Salesforce. We modified the auth configuration to use only the SSO settings instead of login form, and then we hit the domain inside another incognito window for testing purpose. I hope you like this video. Please comment and subscribe my video series. Thank you.